channel. Throwback Thursday is a little series that I do where I come in on Thursdays, pull out a beautiful paper collection from my crafty stash and use it to make something new. This week we are working with Ciao Bella's gorgeous The Sound of Autumn. I've had this for a while. I keep buying little pieces of it here and there. It's kind of hard to find, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And the challenge I gave myself was to work just with the scraps that I had from this collection. I did not cut any new pieces of paper to make this card. And just so you can see, this is how I store my scraps. I bundle them together so that similar patterns are with similar patterns, and then use a paper clip. These are all fussy cuts. These are all patterns, so I can pull and use from there. So what did I make? Well, I made a really beautiful fall card with this little cute hedgehog who I just adore, and mushrooms, which are very trendy. So even though this is an older collection, it's still very much on trend. This is a 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 top fold card with lots and lots of layers, texture, and dimension. And in the tutorial, I'm going to show you some neat tricks for how to add this kind of dimension to paper. This is actually, this piece is actually one piece, and I'll show you how to make it that you can tuck layers and things in there. So I've added some beautiful copper leaves, these retired petaloo flowers that I had in my stash, a beautiful little oak leaf charm that I will show you how to alter with paint so that it fits in with your copper tones that I kind of focused on here. And then we also added some spatters, which I'll show you how to do. The inside of the card is also made with pieces that I put together, a little pocket that I managed to squeeze in with a cute little mushroom tag that can be used as a bookmark. And then down here, this little pocket, and I'll probably go through my tea stash and see if I have some pumpkin spice to tuck in there so that everything color coordinates. So that's what we're making. If you'd like to see how it's done, stick around because the tutorial is coming up next. All right, so this is the paper pad that I'm working with. It's Ciao Bella, The Sound of Autumn. And I use the patterned pad, the regular 12 by 12, the 6 by 6, and the creative pad. I've had this for quite a few years, and I keep using it every fall. It's one of my favorite collections. So here's our card base, just a 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. I use this sort of bittersweet color and distress the edges. This is 5 1/8 by 7 1/8. And then here's the inside. I had to piece papers together. So one of the things I did to make this work, I had these two pieces that were about the same width. This one was short, however. So I took a third piece, it was just kind of a neutral, added one of the cut apart stickers and turned it into a pocket and made a little tag to go in there. So that worked pretty well. And then again down here on the bottom, when I made my card base, I added a little shallow pocket at the bottom. This piece is short. It just barely comes behind the flap of the pocket, but no one can see that. So this is a great way when you're working with scraps to use up those little pieces. And then I just cut a little tag to go in there, and I will probably add a tea bag or something. So now this brings us to the front of the card. And as you can see, I've got a bunch of things kind of stuck on here. And this is often the way I do this. I lay out my elements, and then I'll actually even walk away, sometimes overnight, sometimes for an hour, sometimes just long enough to go fold a load of laundry, and then come back and see if I like the idea that I had. And this time I'm happy with it. I've got this beautiful oak leaf charm, and I'm just going to show you. You can see I put literally just a dot of a copper metallic paint in there. And I've got this old paintbrush. And you see I'm just tapping this on. And you can actually let that sit a minute and then come back and sort of wipe it off, and it looks really neat because the paint will go down into the crevices and such. And it gives it a really natural looking finish. So let me move all these things off, and then we'll work together and put it together again. Before we go on, I wanted to just talk to you because a lot of you ask me this, and I have done tutorials on this before, which is why I don't always show how I build the base. But to make a 5 1/4 by 7 1/4 top fold card, when you only have 8.5 by 11-inch cardstock to work with, go ahead and cut 2 5 1/4 by 8.5-inch panels of paper. And then you can see on the back, I overlap these about 1/4 of an inch, and then I just put them on my scoring tool and I score at 7 1/4, fold, and score again at 7 1/4. And this little piece that's left becomes the pocket. I add little folded pieces of paper to the sides to make pocket gussets, and that is how you do the base. So we covered that. Now I want to show you something kind of neat. I loved, make room for myself here, I'm kind of crowded, but I loved these mushrooms. I just thought they were awesome and such a great fall look. So this is cut, I want to say this is exactly 5 by 7. Nope, it's 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And I've inked the edges with Gathered Twigs Distress ink. To cut around these, I use a craft knife, and some people are so good with the craft knife, it's like they were born with it in their hands. I'm not that good. I'm pretty good with it. But my secret is cut on glass, and I'll just grab a scrap of paper to show you the difference that this makes. First of all, it's a non-porous surface and it doesn't have any give. So you're not going to end up with the blade pressing in and then not moving, which creates drag, but it just glides across the paper. I'm not even putting a whole lot of pressure. And the other secret is you want to, it's better to start out with a light pressure and then go back and retrace yourself than it is to like dig in. So this is my secret. I bought this years ago. I don't have a slice machine, but I bought the glass because I thought this is great for cutting with my craft knife. You can use an old picture frame. Just make sure you run some tape around the edges so you don't cut your hands. But that's one of my favorite tips right there. All right, now on with making this card. So I used my craft knife to trace around the edges of these mushrooms so they would pop up. And then I put foam tape on the back. Now everything I'm working with here is a scrap. So I had this little scrap and I just trimmed the corners to make it look like a tag. And I also added foam tape here. So we're going to peel off this foam tape. This is just an image from the paper collection, and again, I used foam tape on the back. All right, and this is just a little scrap. And let me see, what else did I have? This is left over from die cutting a pocket on something else. So now I'm going to come in with my leaves, and I put my tape on the back. I'm going to slip these back behind, and I'm just lining the corner of the tag up with the corner of that mushroom, and I'm going to press that down. So why the foam tape? To create dimension between the layers, and that always helps a design to keep from getting muddled. So now I'm going to come in with my sweet little hedgehog, and I'm going to do the same thing. I want to tuck him in right about here. Now I have this little tag. I'm just going to put a little adhesive here, and I'm going to tuck this in right here because I want to cover up the word November. And then I took this little cut apart, put it up on a pop-up tab, and I'm going to put it right here with that tag back behind it. Just like trying to center that up. Okay, just like that. So see how easy that is? Now, the next step is I want to bring in, I have these copper leaves, and a lot of you ask me, where do you get your embellishments? I wish I remembered. I am constantly on the lookout for embellishments. A good place to look is the Funky Junky Boutique. Another great place to look is Butterbee Scraps. Another fantastic place to look is Renee Bouquets. And then my husband is oftentimes for birthdays and anniversaries will just bring me home a whole bag full of embellishments. So I don't always know where things come from. I think these leaves came from Butterbee Scraps, but I'm not 100% sure. So I added some foam tape to the back because they're kind of a hollow shape. And I'm going to put this leaf right here, just like that. And I want to tuck, I'm going to use my scissor point to tuck this down in there because I don't want that hanging out. All right. These are old Petaloo, and I'm going to angle these in. And yeah, I think I want this one down first, like this. Oops, I need another glue stick. All right. So tuck that one in like that. And then bring this one in. These make me think of fall asters. Now I can take this tape off the back of my mushrooms and see this creates another layer of dimension. Isn't that cool? So I love dimension. All right, so there's that. And then, whoops, I did this wrong. Hold on. I know, are you freaking out because I did that? Look, you come in with ink and nobody knows. Things can always be fixed. I'm just going to roll this piece back because I don't want it to show. All right, we're good. And I want to take this piece off here, tuck that there, so I have more. Okay. Those we'll get at the end. All right. Okay. So I like that. Now I want to take this and I actually want it. Another good tip is you can take a picture with your phone, which sometimes I do that, but right now I'm using my phone to tape this. But if you get it laid out the way you like it, take a picture with your phone, then you can come back and you can figure out what you were doing. So let's do this one like this. See, now I've got a little platform there for my flowers. And then my other fall leaf is going to go right here. So let's take some foam tape. Put it on the back. I'm also going to add some hot glue. I want this to go just like this. And then this flower. This way. This flower this way. Pretty, pretty. All right, then down here, I fussy cut a leaf. From the paper collection. I'm going to put it right here like this. Then these mushrooms, I added foam tabs. Oops. First I want to put this little bit of burlap string down. Just like that. All right. Now my mushrooms in the corner. And there's my cute little hedgehog. And do you see how all of this is what I want the eye to see. So I framed it with all these elements. This is where the eye is going to go to. Now we're going to bring in a bow. And let me see. I kind of thought I wanted the bow. Yes, I do. Okay. So this is just a double loop bow. I fold it in half. I put the glue on the knot. And then I can tuck it right in there where I want it. And then I'm holding it in place. Sometimes I have to come in with a scissor and just really push it in there to make sure it gets right where I want it to be. There we go. And then I did a string bow. And this is going to go just like this. So pretty. All right, now this guy, I'll let that paint dry a little long. I'm just trying to wipe some of it off. This would have been easier if I had remembered to do it earlier, but there we go. But do you see? So we've just got like highlights and lowlights. It's really pretty. Not happy with the way that tag is sitting, so I'm actually going to come in. I'm going to lift this up. Okay, to change your mind. Most of the time you can change things and you don't get into trouble. All right. Then I just did a little bow. And I'm going to tuck right here. I'm going to take my leaf, glue right there. I want this to, there's a little knot that I want to get in the glue. There we go. And now I can adjust this so that it hangs down where I want it to be. And that is the cover. So all I have to do now, I'm going to gently flip this over. I'm going to remove this and this. And I'm going to put some foam around the back. Okay, let's bring in our cover. And we want to line this up. All right. So the last thing I want to do is put just a little dot of hot glue here. little bow. And this little button. And that completes the card. All right, guys, there you go. Another Throwback Thursday. Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. Oh, I forgot. Good gracious. It's a Monday morning while I'm taping this, and I've just gotten back from a week at the beach. So I'm a little disoriented. With this little bit of paint that you have left, thin it out with some water. Take your paintbrush, pick up that color. And let's see if we can't get some good spatters going on these flowers that kind of blend them in. Can you see that? It's kind of subtle, but it's really pretty. Yeah, that's the finishing touch, y'all. I love these little spatters, and I'm just picking it up on my brush and tapping it wherever I want it to be. But do you see how that makes those flowers just look more blended in overall? I don't do this every time, but because this was a fall project, actually I almost need a little more paint to get down here where I want to get, but I'll try to pick up. There we go. Sometimes these little things, these little details make all the difference. See, to me, that's just the perfect finishing touch. So now we're done with Throwback Thursday for September, what is this, 24th, 25th. The month is going by so fast. Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It helps other crafters to find my channel. If you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you along for the journey. You just click the subscribe button below and then click on the bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. All right, guys, that's it for me. And thanks for joining me. I'm going to go get my craft on. Bye.